Hello. Firstly, I apologize for not being able to be physically with you today, but allow me to use a very short period to introduce what we call a personal learning environment. And this personal learning environment and network, in fact, we've been using it at PLE&N to support peer-based social learning, lifelong learning for over 5 years with our students and graduates. Well, I'm sure you realize large class lectures in university, of course, we have them. We'll continue to have them. However, these kind of classes tend to be getting less and less so. In their replacement is smaller size classes, ad hoc groups, where students cluster any places, anywhere they can find some rooms to discuss, and they may involve their project members, the peers, sometimes teachers, sometimes people as well. When you look at that, seriously, we need to provide a comprehensive learning environment for these students, workplace, technologies, and so forth. And by that, we start to realize our traditional learning management systems really fall short of addressing all these needs. So what can be done in order to help these students to be able to, to collaborate and co-learn together more effectively and more ubiquitously? Well, further underpinning my design rationale of the personal learning environment and network is, when I look at, for example, as an individual, knowledge worker, assume that this person is a teacher, and every day she receives, like all of us, too much information, too much to handle. We are struggling with it. However, we all have friends. Our friends may also send us some information more trustworthy and possibly, more relevant. So in the course of a day, we'll accumulate a lot of material. We try to put it in different places, our USB, our shared drive, network drive, the cloud storage repository, and so forth. If I look at this another person, assuming that this boy is a student, and guess what? His life is the same, although he may receive different materials from the teacher, but he also got his network of friends and peers, and they also send him information. So once again, if we extend this to more and more people in the society, we can see that at any point in time, any person belong to one or more circles. Right now, you could be in a study tour, or you could be visiting our center or whatever. But in the next session, you could be, networking with another group of people. After work, we could be going to a social circle and help to mix with other people as well. So essentially, how can we design a virtual learning environment so that it is highly personalizable, customizable, so that anyone basically can use whatever tools he or she likes to do, but still at the same time be able to collaborate with the people that we so designated or to collaborate together. So we turn to the world of Web 2.0 tools, and we find that, in fact, after extensive evaluation, there are three common tools that we can ask these people to adopt, and once after that, other tools does not matter that much. They can additionally install other tools to their own preference. So these three tools are, the Google address book, the contact list, which is not asking too much, really. The second one is the Google Plus community, which has been used by many people for discussions. And the third one is the Feedly RSS feeds reader. RSS, if you understand it, it's not needing us to go and check for information, but in fact, bring information, raise our awareness, and bring relevant information to our, to our inbox, to our RSS reader. So that's a really effective tool, saving us a lot of time. So obviously, as a teacher, I set up a lot of feeds for my students, especially for all the classes that I teach. I evaluate those feeds, judge their quality, and then, put them together and set it up as part of the environment and broadcast it to the class and show them the configuration to set it up as well individually. So how do we collaborate? We collaborate by, paying attention, reading some of the materials that we receive from the RSS reader. We annotate them, put it into the Google Plus community. We can, of course, create a new posting and put it into the Google Plus community. We have also set up alerts and subscriptions from, for example, some major internet websites like, Vimeo and YouTube for videos, SlideShare for, the world's largest repository of PowerPoints, PDFs, and other things. And whenever materials that is relevant and overlap with the keywords that we have put in, new materials will be sent to us and we can review them and again annotate them and put that into the PLE&N. We can often, take material from one group to another group and then put it into the PLE&N. We can even share new feeds with other students and the teachers. So students sometimes come to me that, hey, Professor, we discovered that this is a better feed than what we have been using, and it's got quality material. Okay, wonderful. I evaluate that. If that's the case, I would also broadcast it and share with the students and consolidate that into our set of feeds as well. If there are still too many articles coming through, we can also apply, RSS aggregators to start filtering down and reduce the amount of articles coming down. For example, we can restrict it to, we only want to receive case studies on a particular topic in the Asia-Pacific area, published by a particular, for example, publisher, and being authored by a selective group of people. We can actually do that if we want to. Well, if you ask, why would students use it? Well, of course, at the beginning, I give them some rewards. This is the grading rubric for, kind of sweetening the deal so that students can easily embark and more willingly embark on it. But, usually I only give about 10%, at most 15%, so that's not really much. And in fact, I realize that as time progresses, when we go into the second semester and third semester onwards, and even after they graduate, there's still some 10 to 15% of graduates continue to use the PLE&N to network with us and share and discuss and co-learn together. So, that really demonstrates the value, and people have been trained and accustomed to start using this as a peer learning tool on a lifelong learning basis, irrespective of whether they get incentives or not, or they find value in some other ways by using it. Well, using the PLE&N helped me to catch up and substantiate a lecture, because sometimes the material, when I'm talking about particular concepts, the material is just not available in the industry yet. But after that, maybe after a few weeks, the new materials came to light, and I slapped that into the PLE&N together with something that reminds students about the topic that I was talking to. So that's wonderful. I can catch up with my lecture and add more value to it. I can also use it as a sounding board. For example, deposit some articles or discussion threads inside the PLE&N and observe and monitor how students react to them, basically by their likes, their plus ones, and also their responses to the comments that we put through. And from that, I can gather that, hey, on some topics, the students are very, very interested, and they have active discussions and go on for a long time. On some other topics, in fact, it is quite silent or idle. So I can actually go in to study more and ascertain whether it is something that I didn't set or deliver it clearly in class, or there is something that I can do more in order to stimulate students' interest. Or, on the other hand, why there are some articles that are well received by students, so I can trace and find out those reasons. Of course, these days, we have to assume that students mostly use it using the tablet or using the mobile phone, which, of course, make it even more ubiquitous and pervasive, and students use it regularly. From my assessment, most students actually access it at least once or twice a day and make contributions as well. Well, the result is alarming, alarmingly good, so I say. And many of the students expressed that, in fact, more than 60% of students expressed that through the use of the PLE&N, it helped them to understand a lot better about the topic. In fact, helped them to learn more about what the syllabus originally contained. So that's wonderful news. And for me, the litmus test actually came, if you look at the lower right pie chart, that something like 95% of the students consistently, semester to semester, choose to remain in the PLE&N even after they have finished a semester. So that's wonderful news for all of us, very joyful. Well, for me, the benefits of the PLE&N is quite clear. It is a ongoing active repository where I can actually gauge students' feedback and be able to help everybody to keep up with the times. It is also a co-learning environment, so that together we learn, we share, we network, and build trust. As well, it is also extending our learning on a lifelong basis. Of course, the PLE&N does not remain static for all the time. It actually evolves, and in fact, up to today, after some 5 to 6 years of operation, we have evolved it into some 6 or different variations of the PLE&N, just because most of the Web 2.0 tools, they happen to be beta. So we have to train ourselves to have the mentality of backing up of valuable materials and prepare to move on to another collaboration set of tools when the time comes. One thing is sure, it is important that the teacher, the instructor, whoever has to put the time into it, because if students are being left to debate, to discuss by themselves, firstly, things can go off course, they could be misdirected, quality can go down, and they will lose faith in the PLE&N. So indeed, I find out that I have to spend a lot more time in the PLE&N in order to keep my students, their active interest going throughout the semester and more. But that's okay, because I love it. I love using it. I actually learn a lot from the student. I actually learn a lot from everybody, even including the graduates, through the PLE&N and other means. Well, furthermore, the PLE&N is running on a set of Google tools and social software. So these are definitely cloud-based software. And with the cloud, it is highly scalable. I didn't have to, rely on the IT department to provide accounts or infrastructure to support me. Be it a class of 10 students or be it a class of 500 students, Google tools and others completely took care of it smoothly. And I don't even feel any difference in it. And secondly, the PLE&N provides an environment which otherwise would almost be impossible to be simulated in the physical space, because here I am, if you like, the blending or fusing together students with teachers. Well, that's not difficult. But if you start to add graduates in, that may not be easy in a physical environment. So it's wonderful, because graduates provide another source of input, which, believe me or not, students also place high trust in, because many of these graduates are still in the same age group. And so the students highly value those graduates who have taken the course some years ago and now offering advice to them, who are taking the course now on how to, for example, get the most out of that course to prepare for their career. Extremely valuable for them. So for those of you who are interested in learning more about students' feedback, I encourage you to replay some of these videos on YouTube. We'll produce more and more of this as time progresses. We also did a bit of research to find out how such an environment can be sustained. Well, we came to the conclusion, just very briefly here, is such a tool has to be very easy to use and almost need no maintenance by the individual himself or herself. Quick to set up, it's free, and also this tool also supposed to be helping them to address a need, whatever that need is. The need could be learning, the need could be figuring out how to solve a problem, the need could be connecting to some more knowledgeable people in the area. And with all these factors together, or at least with most of these factors together, the chance of self-sustaining the PLE&N tool is a lot higher. For me, I've been continuing to use and operate the PLE&N without any further subsidy or assistance from the university for about 5 years once I got the fund from the small scale project. Well, the latest development of the PLE&N is the one that I've shown to you. It's a one-size-fits-all approach. But think again, in university, we have different groups of learners. We have different groups of students. So, for example, we have students who are undergraduate students who are keen to graduate and try to do the best they can and then land on a good job, I suppose. Then we have also master degree part-time students who are already working, accumulated quite a few years of working experience. So their motivations is not just to learn, but also to network with other people and explore the next stage of their career. Plus, we also have full-time and part-time research students, and these students are very keen to ride on top of the research area, so they have a very eager and strong need for information awareness for any new publications that come through in their particular field of specialty, and they also want to network with researchers in the field as well. So taking advantage of these three major types of students and their information needs as well as technological needs, we further cluster the design of a generic vanilla PLE&N for each category of these kind of learners. Basically, we further evaluate and recommend more appropriate types of Web 2.0 tools to supplement the basic construct of the PLE&N. And we have deployed this again at PolyU with very good feedback before we calibrate the feeds for them, so that students working on a group of topic will get nice quality feeds to start with. So now the latest PLE&N looks a bit like this. We have an expanded group of participants with the different categories of of students. We have the graduates, we have teachers, we have other practitioners as well. And depending on the category of the learner, they may be surrounded by different groups of tools. But the bottom line remains the same. They can collaborate freely, easily, ubiquitously across the different types of learners and in the internet space through the use of these pre-configured tools. Well, I hope that next time we can share more and learn from your use of this kind of software as well. The PLE&N has also secured 2 international awards for PolyU. One is the Wharton QS Reimagined Stars Award back in 2015. We were the golden winner in that competition. And secondly, more recently, this year, 2017, PolyU also won the Silver Award for the Best Online Learning Design in Learnix Foundation Award in Australia. With that, I'd like to conclude for the quick introduction of the PLE&N. Once again, I apologize for not physically here, but I hope that you get the gist of what I tried to communicate to you. Thank you.